So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our video of Mars in the 8th house in the sign of Virgo for Aquarius Ascendant people, as in what happens when Mars is in the 8th, while it's ruling the 10th and 3rd house. And as always, if you do not know you have this position along with all your astrological details, go and check out the links here, Astrology.com, where you'll find my books, reports, consultations, and there's top section. So, Mars in the 8th house in Virgo. Okay. So, this is an interesting one. Remember, especially in a female chart, Mars will represent the husband. In a male chart, Mars simply represents younger brother. Mars represents their strength, their valor. Okay. One thing you will see here. First of all, Mars rules the 10th house, right? 10th rules in the 8th house in Virgo. If a person, let's say, does anything connected with chartered accountancy, anything connected with there's error picking and especially research where everything is changing on day-to-day basis, they will have a brilliant career. Because see, 10th lords in the 8th house. In a sign of duality, that means number one, this person will have multiple careers. They'll have to have a multiple career, which is of course is a norm now. Everybody has multiple career side hustles. But for this person is essential. And the other thing that is essential for this person is that they must be in a profession that changes, project changes time to time. The daily work that they're doing, like for example, somebody who's an investment banker. An investment banker, they don't know how much they will be getting out of their trades today. They could be making a $150 million profit. They could be losing 40 million today. And next day they will make 3 billion. That unpredictability within the profession itself makes this particular alignment good for this individual. Because they now align. It's like if the wave is going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, what this alignment does, when you go with that wave, now that wave suddenly starts to settle and becomes even. Because you've infused something in there. And what is it that you're infusing? You're infusing the alignment of yourself with that. You're merging. It's like when something is chaotic and you merge something in it, kind of like a chemical reaction, it becomes straight. On the other hand, you will also see whenever this person goes to the in-laws, they will never be satisfied with the food that they get at their in-laws. They will always either criticize how the food was, or they will always error pick and criticize the financial situations of the in-laws. This person will always criticize and error pick the spending habits or storing habits of their spouse. On the other hand, we also see that sometimes, depending upon the other planetary impact on this particular Mars, younger brother can sometimes become the cause in turbulence between you and your spouse within the marriage, whether male or female. We also see somebody in in-laws family will always deal with some form of chronic health issue. And especially what this person will have to do, they have to show their strength and valor towards that person and helping out that person. Sometimes it becomes, and I'm saying always, sometimes in certain charts, especially for example, if you see moon here, with Mars in the 8th house, you will have to take care of an in-law at one point in your life. Doesn't matter if it's from the spouse's side or the husband's side. Maybe, let's say, for example, your father-in-law suddenly gets Alzheimer's and there's nobody else because your wife or your husband were the only child of theirs, and now you have to take them in and take care of them. But one thing we also see, because Mars is in the 8th house, usually the moment this person gets married and starts living their married life, the relationship with the siblings becomes distant. Either the person will move far away, or if they're very close, then their disputes can happen with the siblings related to their married life. On the other hand, with this particular Mars, we also see that this individual, because Mars, remember, is also the 3rd lord, okay? They can have outbursts of their courage. most of the time the courage is dormant. You won't even understand that can this person do this thing? Everybody can question, can this person achieve this thing? Can this person get into the arena and fight? And sometimes even they don't know. But when the situation comes in the front, that's when suddenly they find their courage and valor. And especially you will see with this Mars in terms of the courage, because see, this is a sign controlled by Mercury. Mercury does not plan things 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead. They live in that moment. You will see whoever's Mercury is strong, they will always tend to just focus on the next week. Next week, what I'm going to achieve, what I'm going to, maybe most month. But if Mercury person, or if let's say this person is trying to do something through their own effort and they're focusing, okay, well, if I do this, then in 5 years, this will happen. Then that does not work for their person. Fear comes in and anxiety comes in. This person, so especially when they don't know if they're going to be courageous or not, and then the challenge comes in front, they're like, okay, it's do or die. I'm against the wall. Usually you will see this person rise when they are against the wall or cornered in. This is when you don't want to mess with this person, because what comes out will be kind of like a volcano erupting. Okay. But one thing we also see, this person becomes very smart in protecting their gains, protecting their social circles. Sometimes they will rather have their relationship with the siblings be destroyed so they can maintain their social circles, their financial status, their gains. Because remember, Mars, even though it's in Virgo, okay, it is still in a spot where it controls. Because originally, if you see, Mars rules the first house in the zodiac and 8th house of Scorpio. Mars is aware of the transformation. Mars is able to handle the transformation because it is originally is the one who owns that particular land and property. Just because on the land and property, you built a different home with the zodiac sign of Virgo, that doesn't mean that they don't know anything about that particular area. And their entire, and you will see, because wherever Mars is energy. Their entire energy will go into the 8th house matters. They're always focused on either research, joint assets. They're always focused, let's say, especially nowadays with like R&D, research and analysis. Even though if their job doesn't require research and analysis, they'll still find much more joy there. They feel alive. See, wherever the sign of Aries is, wherever Mars is placed, those are the places you feel alive. And especially with Mars, when it's in the 8th house, one feels alive when they are always somehow dealing with things behind the scenes, making secret connections. This person actually will become quite good at holding secrets for their own benefit, though. Okay. But one of the things you will also see with this, younger siblings will be going through some kind of either property or financial fraud in their life. And it'll happen either due to, and again, this is very uncommon, especially in the Western world. In India, it's still common because I've seen this a lot, where some situation with maternal aunts and uncles can occur for the younger sibling, because there's so much of joint family dynamics that this becomes much more real for people like in India, Middle East, Asian countries, any of the Asian countries, Philippines and Vietnam or Malaysia, that somehow they lose money through those particular things, or especially the younger sibling or one of the younger siblings is kind of like the act of putting an X on their own foot. They get into so much debt that somehow they have to lose certain asset. It's like they cheat themselves and then they lose either in money or in property. And especially they need to be very careful of any financial schemes or scams. Like if something is too good to be true, as they say, it probably is. So this is where one thing you want to warn them with. But usually I've always seen that somehow if you have a brother in general or a best friend, at one point there will be a big fight. And there will be a complete separation of not dealing with that particular individual in this person's life. Okay. But main thing is that because 10th house in the 8th house, 8th house is second from the 7th house. If you want to improve and bring a major transformation in your particular profession, you will see the moment your marriage takes place. Marriage brings in a big transformation in a person's professional life, especially when your spouse also helps you handle your assets and money. And this is a very self-motivated person. But you know when the self-motivation comes in, when this person is like, it's time to wake up and do something, is when they go through some major ups and downs in their professional life. So one thing I will say, do not be afraid if you go through some chaos related to your profession and career. Because that's when it's an omen by the cosmos that we're going to give you a transformation now. Now, can it be a more downhill transformation, uphill transformation? That, of course, will depend upon how Mars is conjunct or aspected by other planets. Okay. So this was my analysis of Mars in the 8th house in the sign of Virgo for Aquarius ascendant people. Otherwise, remember, you can go to this particular link, find all the consultations and all the reports. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.